All right, police body camera video shedding light on a deadly shooting in Oklahoma. A warning, the images are graphic. Watch if you wish. An officer makes the split-second decision to fire his weapon after police say this suspect, after going to be arrested, turns and decides to run. He faces the officer with a loaded gun. But the NAACP says the cop should have asked questions first. So what is their end goal? Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark saw this video, wanted to weigh in, and we want him to. Well, Sheriff, what do you think about what we know so far? It looks like he was being arrested, decides to run, drops something to the side, said to be a gun, and he wouldn't stop, so the officer shot. Your review?
Well, just from looking at the tape, and I know there's a lot more involved, but that's a good shoot. I mean, it's police vernacular, and in legal speak, it's a justifiable shooting. But there'll be more investigation. But there's something else here about the NAACP that needs to be said. This once proud organization that was a force for good has relegated itself into irrelevancy. And I challenge anybody to name the last significant accomplishment that the NAACP has achieved in the United States for people of color. I would probably say it was the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And since then, this organization has become nothing more than a political propaganda entity for the left. So let's break this down in terms of what the NAACP should be focused on, and they can get this discussion started in the black community because we need to have it. And it's the behavior of our young black men. Okay, let's unpack this thing for a minute. You got this young black man armed with a firearm, all right, illegally, stalking and terrorizing his girlfriend, all right? There's another problem there. And then he's standing outside a church where there's a wedding, and the pastor had to call frantically to get the police there because of this guy's behavior. So the discussion we need to be having, if the NAACP can lead it and stay off the police, is why is this stuff happening and what are we going to do about it? The number one cause of this, Brian, is father-absent homes. So what are we going to do in terms of having more effective parenting, more role modeling, more engaged fathers in the lives of these young black men so that we don't have this behavior. The behavior is what we need to be talking about. And
we'll put yourselves in your shoes there, or your fellow officers. They get a call to go to a wedding because this 21-year-old is going to show up there. He has claimed that there's he's coming up there with a gun. He's got a bullet with your name on it. So the pastor scrambles to call 911. So they know this guy is dangerous. He seems to have evil intentions. So that's the mentality of the officer pursuing this prospective suspect. Here's what the NAACP did say. He says there is this mentality out there of a shoot first, ask questions later, and I think emphasis should be placed on trying to take those people alive. And the mom said, essentially, they shouldn't have shot him. They should have just tried to catch him. What's your reaction?
Well, what did his dad say? You know, we always hear what his mom said. And look, you know, mom loves her son. We all get that. But the shoot first and ask questions later, anytime a law enforcement officer is in a situation where a gun is introduced by a suspect, yeah, it's shoot first, stop the threat, and then ask questions later. And also, when you run from the police, I'll tell you right now, you're headed toward a very dark place where things are not going to go well for you. And the reason is, and that doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be shot and that you should die, but the fact is, that is one of the most dangerous situations an officer can be involved in, a foot pursuit, and then with an armed suspect. Yeah, this is unfortunate. This has had to happen, but let's focus on the behavior of our young black men and not the police.
Sheriff, I just hope people around the country aren't starting to question everything you guys do, because that's a very dangerous place when we have trouble trusting law enforcement from sea to shining sea. Sheriff Clark, thanks so much.
It's always my pleasure.